Holy, we are so Joe back. It's certainly commencing.
Oh my, really?
This is FlyQuest.
This is how we're doing the first episode.
Man.
Season 4.
Oh, man.
Episode 17.
Someone is existing in the moment.
Hope you haven't fallen out of any coconut trees lately, because you're at the right place at the right time, existing in everything that has whatever the quote is, and all the things that have come before. And we are existing in a weekend of FlyQuest action. About a 3-week break for the flight check boys. But here we are, and it's time to get back into things. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left, everyone back where they belong, Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, real quick question, just to start us off, lay some groundwork. We gotta, ease back into things, after a long break. Picture with me, if you will. You're at your local barber or hairdresser, salon, what you may have. And you ask them, they ask, what you want to do with your hair. And you tell them, maybe some length, specifications, style, something like that. And then they go about, they cut your hair, it's looking okay. And then you start to realize, oh, they're going a little bit longer with the scissors than maybe I would have expected them to be going. And then they wrap everything up. They, blow dry your hair. They make you look nice and pretty. And then you turn around and look at the mirror. And then the barber asks, is this too short? Now, I want to ask, what is the appropriate response in the event that it is indeed much shorter than you asked for? Perhaps like a solid 2 inches shorter. And you're not immediately in love with your new look.
This feels very personal.
This feels a little oddly specific.
But I want to know, what do you say? Because I'll tell you what I said in a second. But what the heck should you be saying to the question of, is this too short?
Well, if it was me, for me, I would probably actually be like, it's fine, but not, but clearly indicate it is not fine.
Yeah.
And just never see them ever again.
Right.
Because I was nervous. My friend who trimmed my hair 2 weeks ago got rid of half an inch, and because of the shrinkage, it looked like it got rid of a lot more. So I would be freaking. For me, nightmare, terrible scenario. I'm depressed for the next 6 months until it comes back. Yeah. I don't know. Knox, Mr. Shorthair, what's your opinion?
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit more manageable because this is about the length of where I like my hair.
Right.
It does get longer than this. Don't get me wrong, but
well, I would hope your hair doesn't stop growing.
No. It can get longer than this.
At that point, that would be a major medical mystery, and we would be
we need to investigate this.
Scientists have discovered a man whose hair doesn't grow.
It grows to the perfect length and styles itself without even having to manage it. How does he do it?
How does he do it? Doctors hate him for this one weird trick.
To answer your question, though, for me, it's more of a, no, I will be blunt. No, that's shorter than I want, but because it's so quickly repairable for me, it's fine. Just wrap it up, clean it, make it as good as you can, and then I'm out of here. And then, like Curly said, I'm not seeing that person again. If you're messing up my hair by 2 inches, you messed up bad,
dude. You're getting the razor going bald.
Yeah. So that'd probably be about my responses. It's not okay, but because I can fix it so easily, whatever. Let's move along.
Yeah. No, I
so, but what did you say?
Well, I basically, I kind of lied, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, just kind of
But it's not fine.
But, with the tone of voice that they knew I was not pleased, so that's that. That was me a couple weeks ago, 2 Mondays ago, in fact, so solid
So,
2 weeks.
well, now you're a little obligated. Podcast
Wait,
listeners, you're listening on
that was 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
That's when I got my haircut, dude.
Hey,
Nice.
oh, nice. That's perfect.
Nice.
Nice.
So, podcast listeners are not going to be able to see this because we're just listening on Spotify or whatever.
Sure.
But for the stream people and the YouTube VOD people, you should do a little turn of your head if you can, Sandy.
So,
give it, let them see.
Oh,
It
wow.
used to be like down like here, you know,
Yeah.
right on the shoulder. And what I was looking for was like, just cut, like take it here, right to the top of the shoulder, and it's not quite there anymore.
Can you even headbang with that, dude?
You can. Don't worry. That is
Okay.
still very much a possibility. Well,
Important priorities.
You know who also was rocking and rolling over the weekend? It was FlyQuest with a solid weekend.
All around.
And we're going to get into it. Big weekend for the org. Lots of things to celebrate. I do want to ask how you guys are. It's been a few weeks. Where have you guys been? What have you been up to? Curly, I know you did a little camping travel.
Oh yeah, dude.
Tell us about that.
It was honestly real nice. I every year my family, third week of July, we go up to this place in upstate New York. I've started bringing my friends recently. Big thing this year is I actually have officially inherited the cabin that we rent, and the fact that I signed the contract now, which is crazy to me, because now it's a lot being directly responsible for 7 people.
Totally.
But aside from that, it's real nice because I just disconnect from everything. I have the worst but best sleep schedule of my life because I'll stay up till 1 or 2 a.m. doing shit with my friends, and I'll wake up at 5 a.m. before the sun rises, though I wasn't doing anything stupid the night before. And then I'll take a kayak out to the middle of the lake, and then I'll meet a family of loons apparently this year. The loons, dude, the loons have actually been way more present this year than the entire other 15 years I've been going up to this place. But yeah, so it's nice. It was just a real nice time, and then I finished it off by rushing back to Ohio in the middle of the night so I could be at a wedding on Friday, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Saw some stuff there that looked great.
It was great. It was top tier. It's one of my close friends. I was very happy for them. And so, yeah, it was all around good week.
Awesome. Love it. Knox, I know you were on a bit of a break.
Yep.
So how are you feeling? Are you... I know you're slowly loading back in to the esports scene.
I was telling off camera, I just had a major moment of burnout of esports and just the internet in general, and I said, okay, I'm peacing out for a little bit. I turned off my Discord, I turned off my Twitter, I wasn't even checking Reddit or anything. I was out, and I didn't want to look at anything at all. So finally, I did have a little circle on my calendar saying, hey, this is when LCS is back. I should probably not miss that. I should probably come back at some point. But no, I would say it was extremely needed. I kind of go through cycles and just having interest in esports and League of Legends in general. And I think currently I'm kind of just going through a bit of a low in terms of interest, unfortunately. It is what it is. I think having this month off actually really, really helped me, and now I'm just going to work my way back into it. And so, fresh slate. I have no idea what's happened this past month. If there was major drama in the esports scene, I don't know. If big things happened in League of Legends, I don't know. I've been finding out little by little some things that I missed, but for my most part, it sounds like it was pretty quiet, actually. So honestly, it sounded like a good time for me to take off.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really didn't miss a ton. One small roster change. No one else made any moves besides Shopify. And we all know how well that worked out for them this past weekend. Besides that, nothing too crazy. We do have a lot to talk about tonight, so let's get into it. First off, we're going to hit right on it. FlyQuest 2-0 over Immortals this past weekend. Pretty solid dub. I think for me, my overall impression is that Game 1 felt a little shaky at the start. But really what happened for me was that Game 1 got saved by Massu stealing
Massu.
with the Mystic Shot stealing the Baron, because we were basically throwing at Baron. We were pulling a Dignitas of yore. And then game 2 for me looked a lot cleaner. Again, I felt like there was some small issues with early game, mainly where Immortals picked up a small gold advantage early, but then we just were way better in the mid game and team fighting, a lot more organized and controlled. But those were my overall impressions. Curly, I'll ask you first. How were you feeling about the weekend's performance?
Definitely shakier than I would like to be against Immortals. Pulled out 2-0 in spite of that, but yeah. For me though, Massu like definitely coming into form.
Yeah.
Like on the Ezreal, big shining light in that first game, and then still like stayed hype in the second game. So yeah, I would like to see us clean it up a little bit more coming into this final half of LCS. But hey, at least we're keeping the win streak going.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 3-1 now, and 7-3 in game score. Solidly in third, solidly ahead of the rest of the pack, but solidly behind Cloud9 and Team Liquid. So, there is that. Nox, how about you? Your impressions from this weekend's match?
Yeah, I think Massu really saved game 1. I think he, so far, surprisingly, has been the most stable member of the LCS squad this summer split. I think he's not really been messing up at all, and I think he's been having really good mid to late game performances. Lane could be a little bit more dominant, but I mean, I can't ask for everything, right? And so I've been very happy with Massu's performance, and I think he really was the sole reason that FlyQuest ended up making this a 2-0. Even though the second game was far cleaner from Fly. But yeah, I think in general, some of our mid to late game decision making from Inspired is a little questionable at times, but in other times you can very clearly see like it suffocates teams out. Like you see it in game 2, right? But yeah, so hopefully looking to see a little more consistency from Inspired in that aspect, and then just I'm loving what I'm seeing from Massu right now. And then I got to give a small shout out to Quad. I thought Quad had a really good game too. He really managed to push Immortals in a lot of ways they were not expecting in that game too. And I thought he had a great Tristana in general. So overall, I thought it was just a very solid series-ish from most of the team.
Yeah, I thought it was a good series overall. Good way to come back. Massu was definitely, and he won Player of the Series, but he was definitely my MVP as well. Felt like he...
Do we know who got Player of the Week?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me look at... Just say what you're going to say, and then I'll look it up for you.
It's not listed anywhere.
Vulcan. Vulcan was Player of the Week.
Okay, sure. I have not watched that Cloud9 matchup, so...
I did not watch the Cloud9 matchup, and from what I heard, Cloud9 absolutely dominated 100 Thieves. So I guess I shouldn't be too shocked.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you really miss anything?
No, you did not miss anything, so it's fine.
David Shynock shambles somewhere. 2-0. We are over halfway through regular season now. Looking at our final few matchups. Next couple weeks, I feel pretty good about. Taking on 100 Thieves this weekend, followed by Shopify the weekend after, and then we wrap up the season at Cloud9. And I think this is actually interesting because, right now Cloud9 and TL, both 4-0. Cloud9 plays NRG next week, and TL plays Immortals. So realistically, going into week 6, when TL and Cloud9 play each other, both could be 5-0. And if you believe that, TL is the better team and they beat Cloud9, then realistically, we're entering week 7 with both us and Cloud9 at 5-1 in series score. And that matchup in week 7 determines who gets the bye to upper bracket round 2. And potentially, and also determines like who is one series away, one best of 5 away from qualifying for Worlds. And I will say, for my part, and I want to hear from you guys, I feel good still that, like, obviously there was a lot of hype about Dig early on in this season, but based off of what we've been seeing so far, I really think that it will still be Cloud9, TL, and FlyQuest all making it to Worlds in some order of your choosing. But I will be...
Solid roster.
Huh?
Oh, no, just side comment. Just solid roster teams to send to Worlds.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just don't see... So I think I'm looking ahead to that Week 7 matchup, Fly versus Cloud9, could really determine and show us a little bit of a preview of how playoffs might go. What do you guys think about, the potential for the Cloud9 TL 5-0 SmackDown, and then the potential FlyQuest Cloud9 to determine who makes it to round 2 with the bye?
I'm really, really of the opinion that Cloud9 is going to humble Team Liquid a little bit. I think it's going to happen. I think TL in general still looks like the best team, but I think Cloud9 is going to be able to do enough, at least in this series. I'm not saying in playoffs, because I think playoffs is a different beast where people are a little more locked in. But I really feel like Cloud9 is going to figure some stuff out and actually like, okay, here's how you've been playing. We've got to lock down. You're going to take an L here. And that, I think that's just going to be a fun series in general.
Yeah, Curly, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, they're really both kind of dominating a lot more than I would like. But I think no matter how this next week goes, week 6 is going to be super hyped because I think they're going to stay at the top. I wouldn't be surprised if they stay undefeated. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's hard to call at this point who's going to have the upper edge, though. Because TL, like I said, staying a bit more dominant than I would like them to. I think we need to just get to week 6 to find that out. And then week 7 is also going to be, clutching it. I'm hoping that C9 stumbles at the finish line, though.
Oh, yeah. Would agree. Do you guys find it at all interesting that the only teams that TL has dropped a game to are us and Dignitas? I just think that's very funny.
I mean, us is not surprising. Dig, that... Yeah, I don't know what to think of Dig, man. Like, Dig does not make sense. That team should be, like, firepower-wise so strong, but they do not play with any form of coordination whatsoever.
No, it's so all over the place.
Sounds like a Dignitas team,
it just
honestly.
Huge mess. Big mess all the time. I had another point I wanted to throw to, and now I can't recall what it was. Oh, yes. Any concerns from you guys? Anything that stood out that's, like, concerning for you after this Immortals matchup? For me, just off the bat, it was Immortals really looked good for early game, or at least looked better than us in early game. And we had to either have the Miracle Baron steal or rely on our mid-game team fighting in order to bring it back. Now, once we got to those points, it looked really clean, and I was pleased with that, but it's a little concerning. A better team than Immortals might lock us down, lock us out, if we give them that early game advantage. So that's something that was concerning for me. Are you guys also concerned about that? Was there anything else that stood out to you that might be of concern? How are you feeling?
So maybe someone will know this and maybe we won't, but as far as I'm aware still, Immortals are still scrim gods. Yes. Like, they are still performing extremely well in scrims, which to me screams, hey, they understand how to play early game fairly well, they know how to play mid game fairly well, but they just cannot close out on stage. There's some mental block, whatever it may be. So for me, in that regard, I actually have a lot of respect for Immortals in the sense that they are a good team, quote unquote, but they can't close out. And so for me, it's not super worrying that a team like Immortals is pushing us a little bit in that regard, as long as we're still able to bounce back and close it out. So it's something to keep an eye on, but it's not worrying for me.
Yeah, Curly, what about you?
I think something that's kind of concerning me with FlyQuest is our macro calls seem to be a bit inconsistent. Like we lose neutral objectives a lot more than I think we need to. For either just not being there or not setting them up right, or with Barons, we've kind of been this has like been all season. We've kind of been flip flopping at Barons, you know.
Was it first game that Immortals got like 3 dragons like super quick? Like they just took them all on spawn.
I think so, yeah.
And then they were on soul point before 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I think if I remember right, Inspired was trading them from Grubs. The third Drake did not go in our favor. I forget the reason why, but Inspired was taking Grubs. Yeah, he was taking Grubs during that time frame.
Yeah, I think it's real tough to just make that call between Grubs and Drake, because it's like, if you can commit to the Grubs and get like the extra little void leans, then maybe it's worth losing the Drake. But even then, it's like that's 2 points. So it's like, which one matters more to you? Like, are you a team that can keep pushing, or are you a team that needs the stats from the dragon? Like, I think that's what you kind of need to figure out.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, any other impressions from LCS, from FlyQuest, or from the LCS weekend in general? Nox, I know you missed our last show, which was weeks ago at this point. I don't even remember when it was.
Sometime.
We're 4 weeks into the season now. Any impressions from you guys on either FlyQuest or LCS that have stood out to you?
I don't think there's anything that's super surprising to me. Yeah, everyone's kind of like sitting right around where I expect them to be ranking wise, and then even the games itself this weekend, I went 4 for 4 on predictions this weekend. I didn't have maximum points because I thought NRG would 2-0 Shopify, or I thought NRG would 2-1 Shopify.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect for Dig to take a game off of TL, but like all my predictions were correct. So no, everything's kind of coming up to chop as I expected it to be. So I'm more than anything, I'm looking forward to next week, where I believe we play Shopify, correct? Next week?
No, we play 100 Thieves.
Easy.
Here's the cool thing about that. I can literally take the points about what I was about to say about Shopify and put it on 100 Thieves, because I expect us to roll this team. It's fine. Yeah. So I really just want to help it. I just want to get through next week, chop them up, and then the week after, I really want to get into. Oh, the week after is that shop. So we've got 2 back-to-back weeks of pretty easy games.
This is great. So really, all we need to do is worry about week 7.
Yeah. I really just want to hit our fundamentals. I want to get our game down pat, and then I want to go into week 7 against Cloud9 and really lock in. That's what I want to see.
Lock in. I agree. Curly, how about you? Impressions from LCS so far?
I mean, like, we're staying at the top. Just need to work on cleaning it up. Like Nox said, those fundamentals are very important. And so these on-stage scrims against 100 Thieves and Shopify Rebellion these next couple of weeks are going to do real good, I hope.
Yeah, would agree. I think my takeaway, one impression I have, Shopify is really bad. Like, this team is garbage. And I feel bad saying that, because it's like, there's guys on there and like that we know are talented. B-Voy had a really good season last split. Insanity, we've seen some flashes of brilliance. Zazel fought so long to get back into LCS. Fake God he was trying to do a redemption arc, but things have just not looked good. And I think my bigger frustration with this team is like, you had you start Tomio for 3 weeks, and now you're bringing back Boogie. It's like, why did you even start Tomio in the first place? If this was always an option of bringing back Boogie, now you just wasted like a month and a half of, prep and practice and playing with a guy that you're like, yeah, we don't trust. And it's like, what is even your, goal here? Do you realistically think that you're going to make a push for Worlds? Like, you have to be realistic. It's like, no, you're not. So if you're trying to do anything, you should look to develop a player who you wanted to bring in, as jungle, if you want to make this guy like a player that you build around in the future. So why bring back Boogie? It's like, if you're just trying to save face and not get 2-0'd every weekend, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think, yeah, besides that, it's frustrating to me that, in some ways it's frustrating, in some ways it's not, that the top half of the league is so clearly, like, far above and beyond the bottom half. Like, we have two very clear tiers, where it's C9, TL, Fly, and then everyone else. And it's like everyone else is just kind of like fighting for like the scraps of the 4, 5, and 6 playoff spots. Like, you could tell me right now, we've got Energy, Dig, 100, and Immortals all fighting for 4, 5, and 6. You could tell me any combo of those teams makes it into the playoff bracket, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Immortals could make it over Dig, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, I see it. You know, like, Energy could drop down, 100 Thieves could drop down and be like, yeah, that makes sense. So, on the one hand, it's nice to have 3 really good teams, because they challenge each other, they push each other. But it's clearly a league where there's not a ton of parity right now, where the rich keep getting richer. And that's not always the most entertaining when I look at the schedule and I see Cloud9, NRG, TL Immortals, and Fly 100 Thieves, and I go, okay, those are all 2-0s probably. And then I look and I see Shopify and Dig, and I'm like, that's the most interesting matchup of the weekend, because we're going to find out who's the best of the worst. You know, Shopify and Dig. And it probably will still end up being a 2-0 for Dig, you know? So, it's just an interesting time in the league, and I'm hoping for more parity in the future.
This is when Shopify leaves as quickly as they join the LCS, as it consolidates next year.
Maybe. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see on that one.
Yeah, we'll see on that one. Yeah, there's a few teams that I'm eyeing for dipping out. All right, let's preview LCS Week 5 for FlyQuest really quick, because I think we have already talked about a lot of our points on it. Nox, Curly, I think we're all probably agreed on the 2-0 over 100 Thieves.
100%.
100% over 100 Thieves?
Yes, sir.
Per chance. Any like, sum it up in a couple sentences why the 2-0, Curly?
Well, because Quid is better than Quad. Or rather, Quad is better than Quid. My bad.
Yeah, hang on.
Wrong way around. See, this was always going to happen. I can't wait for the casting to be a struggle.
Quid, baby. I can't wait.
The matchup we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
We're just kind of better across the board. We've got the momentum on our side. I think even though for me the top side of our team has been struggling lately, whether it's in the LCS or tournaments that don't exist, but you know, they're kind of shoring it up. So I'm hoping against 100 Thieves it'll be good for them.
All right, Nox, your thoughts on Fly versus 100 Thieves?
Yeah, so in the pros episode that came out today, JoJo had a little comment about the fact that Quid has not been playing as well because he's no longer doing 1v1 practice with him. Oh. And that is why he doesn't look as good. I don't know how much to index into that or not, but I would actually agree from the games I have watched of 100 Thieves. I don't think Quid has been performing at as high of a standard of level, which is kind of the reason why 100 Thieves was finding success in the best of ones last split, because I thought the mid-jungle duo was like absolutely popping off. And if Quid's not having the same level of performances as he was in spring, River's not able to do that carrying, man. And I think River's still doing a pretty good job, but like, this is kind of what I really expected spring split 100 Thieves to look like. It's just finally appearing in summer. So yeah. With that said, I think this should just be a nice easy 2-0, Quad over Quid. Bwipo should and will continue to manhandle Sniper as he has. And then I think Massu and Busio have developed as a bot lane far nicer than what Meech and Ayla have. So I'm really not worried about this series at all.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I just think we clear this team in leaps and bounds from top to bottom in terms of just, like, you know, player versus player. Yeah, I'm not particularly concerned. You know, hopefully it doesn't wind up being like a trap matchup and we get boomed, but I feel pretty confident in calling the 2-0 calling the shot and saying 2-0 for FlyQuest LCS. All right, that's LCS caught up. Let's move on over to Nox's favorite topic, Challenger, perchance. Things are a little bit hectic over here, Nox.
Yeah, this league is quite wild right now, but it is extremely fun.
Can you catch up the populace on what's been going on here?
Dragonsteel, aka Maryville University, are currently 7-0. They're continuing to just dominate the league. They've dropped a total of 2 games, one of which was to Supernova, and one of which was to Blue Otter. They have 2-0'd every other team, including us. They're looking extremely good. You got Fear, who's 1 game extra played above everyone else at 5-2, and then you have Disguised ourselves at 4-2, Team Liquid at 4-3, Supernova at 3-3, and then that's where like the real big cutoff is, right? Where it's like, okay, there's a bit of a notable difference in terms of play. You start getting into Winthrop University at 3-4, CCG Esports at 2-5, Blue Otter at 1-5, and Area of Effect Esports AOE is at 0-7. It has been a lot of hectic games. Very, very entertaining. Not high quality necessarily throughout a lot of them. Dragonsteel's probably had the most quality out of all of them, and even then they've had some really sloppy games.
Yeah.
Referring to FlyQuest specifically, the 2 series that we have lost have been to Dragonsteel, which was the very first series of the year, and honestly, I thought like we were throwing punches at them, but it felt like Dragonsteel just kind of manhandled us and just forced us into submission, and that was that. And it was like, you know what? I mean, this is at the time, it was like, okay, these are the second best. This is the second best team in the league. It's understandable if they get a 2-0 on us. It happens. I wasn't too worried about it. And then we had a series against Disguise, which I thought we really, really should have won. That was really just, we made some really, really dumb mid to late game mistakes between Shaden and I want to say it was Bradley. I'm not recalling because it was earlier on, and it's been over a month since I watched. But yeah, in general though, I thought Fly has still been looking okay. They've had a couple shaky games against Team Liquid as well that I thought was maybe not necessarily the highest quality as well as against Fear. But they still look like that team, you know, that team. It's like, oh, you could win the split again. You could be going to Brazil at the end and playing against. Oh, well, actually, should we hype this up a little bit? The team that's qualified for this international tournament.
Oh, yeah,
we were joking about earlier.
Yes, yeah.
Good old, you all ready for this? W.A.T Esports. W.A.T. Yeah. W.A.T Esports is coming to
children.
I'm sorry, yeah. Excuse the phrasing, but W.A.T is coming to the international stage, and FlyQuest could be there, and they could play against them, so that could be very exciting stuff. Long story short, FlyQuest still looks good. They have not looked as quality as they should be, I think, and what I really want to see going forward is in the matches to come against AOE, literally last place, Blue Otter, second to last place, CCG, third to last place. Those are literally like we have the easiest schedule left for the rest of the year. I really want to see the guys just wipe them up, nice 2-0s across the board, get your fundamentals down, and get prepped to go into playoffs. And then if all things come to chalk, I'm expecting somewhere in the second to third seed, which means we'll probably end up playing Winthrop University or CCG first round. All that in that time frame is what I want to see us get like our mentals locked in and our gameplay locked in, and then at that point, that's when things start getting hard because you'll start playing like Disguised or Team Liquid, etc.
Right. Yeah, and we did take the loss to Disguised in the 2-1 last week. Did you happen to watch that?
I saw, like, I skipped through because that was when I had just come back, and I was like, let me just see how are the boys doing. I had to check in on the boys, and it's like, of course, I come back and they're on a loss.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch the full series. I kind of just skimmed through it, and that's why I said I can't really remember, but I think it was like a couple issues with Shaden and Bradley, and from what I read, Bradley is still very clearly like getting used to mid lane again, and he's still not quite up to snuff to the level of he was playing at in top lane for Team Liquid, which is all understandable. It's all well and good. There's a reason why he's a developing player. He's the youngest, quote unquote. I say young in the sense of like development. He's like the youngest player on the team, I would say right now, in his respective role, because Sajed has already played a split at bot lane for the team before. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right on the money about how we're in a good position right now with strength of schedule. Yeah, the 8th, 9th, and 10th place teams, including Area of Effect Esports, who, from what I understand, have had...
Dude, that org is a dumpster fire right now. It is not good.
Like, they are changing out players every week. They're trying to find literally anything. But it doesn't even matter, right? Because they are locked into the summer promotion tournament.
Technically, no. They could theoretically... they play us in Supernova.
Yes.
If they 2-0 both of those matches, and CCG goes 0-2 in both of their matches, along with Blue Otter not being able to make it, they can actually sneak into 8th place.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you there's a chance. It's not a good one, but
a crazy chance.
A crazy chance.
A crazy chance.
Well, I mean, so it sounds like we should expect this team to probably 3-0 match score in the next 3 weeks. Like, that should be the expectation. And probably 2-0s all the way through, right? So if that is the case, then we're looking at, you know, like a 7-2 in series score, which is respectable considering the losses would be to teams that are all in the top 3 currently, Disguised and Dragonsteel. So, and then, yeah, I mean, you're looking at, like, you get 2 wins, 11, 13, 15, so you're looking at, like, a 15-7, 15-8 at the worst, maybe, game score, which I think is very good, very respectable, and I think that puts you in a great position to be definitely top half of the bracket. You know, like, I would expect us to be top half of the bracket by the time the season ends. Is there anything in there that we should be hesitant on? Anything we should be looking for in terms of, like, concern? Or do you feel pretty confident about 3-0ing the rest of the season?
I will say I do have to give a nod to CCG Esports. I'm still a huge Shochi fan. I think he's really, really good. He plays for CCG. He was originally on Supernova this past split.
Yeah.
I had him ranked as the #1 mid laner going into spring. He was not the #1 mid laner last split, but like just to give you an idea of reference of where my state of mind was for him. So I think he's really, really good, and I think he's someone who will actually have a upper hand over Bradley. And then Minui and Trevor, I'm not huge on, but they're still in a very experienced bot lane, and they can have their moments, and they could find angles to where they could punish Sajed and Chime. So, like, there's reason to see CCG can take a game off of us, especially with how sloppy we've been in some of our games. But in general, yeah, I really am expecting a 3-0 across the board to wrap this up. It may not be a 6-0 game score-wise, but it will be a 3-0.
Yeah, it makes sense. Curly, anything you want to add before we move forward?
I mean, honestly, I am really impressed with Dragonsteel. Because they only made 2 major changes before the split, with Niles being promoted to coach, Zamudo coming in, and then just the literal name, the partnership with Brandon Sanderson. So for them, impressed it's worked out, and formidable opponents, and I hope we get to frequently meet them in the playoffs and get a revenge for the way this whole split started out.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it'll be an interesting end to the season. Interesting to see where teams end up, you know, as they jockey for position, you know, in that kind of like 3 through 6 space, I would say. So it's going to be a great end to the season, and looking forward to the tournament for sure. But high expectations, per usual, for the boys. All right, let's move on to maybe the most celebratory thing. FlyFighters at EVO. Absolutely crushed.
Insane.
Rolled aside. Stomped. Let's talk about Punk. Street Fighter 6. He winds up going through loser's bracket. Sorry, he does not go through. His opponent goes through loser's bracket. And in the first Grand Finals match, Punk, he gets rocked. He got really, really rocked. And we go to a Grand Finals reset. And in my mind, anytime there's like a Grand Finals reset, all the momentum is on the side of the person who came from lower bracket. But Punk didn't let that stop him. And he winds up 3-2ing in the final match. And it was close. Like, this went, like, down to the wire. Very, very close matchup. I think both of you guys watched it. I just had it on my side monitor for the last 20 minutes, and I was catching glimpses and pieces. But it was a great matchup. I need to watch it again with crowd noise and announcer, because that's always like...
Oh yeah, no, the crowd noise and the
You want to talk
announcers-
about crowd noise?
I am
Nitros.
watching the Nitro one right now, and I just saw the crowd popping off after he reset.
Dude, that man had the crowd on his side. I know we were talking about Punk real quick, but Nitro, watching that VOD, I could feel the hype.
Also,
I knew the results.
I love the name of this character in Guilty Gear, Soul Bad Guy. I mean, it's just so on the nose. It's great. I love it. But yeah, getting back to Punk. And Nox, I know you were mentioning this a little bit earlier offline, but I mean, the thing about Punk is that this is like finally like kind of a bit of like he finally did it, right? Where for a long time he's struggled to close it out in big matches.
Yeah, like, as far as I know, he's never had an EVO win before, and this is his first ever EVO win. Like, he's had other big tournament wins before, like, he's popped off before, but he's never been definitively, like, the best in the world. And the one thing I, like, strictly remember when watching the VOD earlier was, like, the casters, both of them, like, unanimously at the same time, like, you are the best in the world now. Like, this guy is the best in Street Fighter right now. And so, I think that's just sick. Along with, like, apparently there's narratives about how in past, like... He's gone through tournaments where he's just dominated, and that's cool, and he's taken first place. But apparently there's been times in the past in major tournaments where he's gotten like all the way to the end and then he's choked it. And so a lot of people saw him go into this final round and were like, oh, he's going to choke again. He's going to choke again. And he finally overcame it, and he finally won in a very, very clutch and important moment. And so, and I think you could see it on his face. Like, if you go watch that VOD, like...
Oh, the emotion hits him so fast.
There's not a pop-off. It's just like... holy shit, I did it, and like he internalizes it, and he like really like soaks it in, and then it's just like, okay, we're good, and like he's just happy, and it's so awesome to see. I really, really like. If you're not an FGC fan, please at least like go watch the last like 2 minutes of the VOD for that. Like see the final moments of the fight, and just watch Punk go through the emotions. It's so euphoric.
I think there's something for me about the fighting game scene where, I mean, obviously there's like doubles matchups, right? But like, you know, the premier events are, you know, singles. Where I love like watching League. I love watching Valorant and seeing teams do well. But there's something about like a lone individual, you know, marching their way through a bracket, and like redemption arcs and lower bracket runs and all these things, where just like the emotions that come from these tournaments, I think like reign supreme in the gaming world. And I know, you know, I was about to say the esports world. I know there's controversy over the fighting games being esports and blah blah blah. They're esports. Get over it.
They are esports, dude. If UFC is an esport, or not an esport, if UFC is a sport.
There's probably a UFC video game out there, right?
There is.
There is.
Yeah,
I don't know if
all
there's
right. All right. So there's probably a...
It was all in my face when I had a PlayStation 4. It was like, hey, get the new UFC game. And I'm like, why?
There's a new... Yeah, there's a UFC esports scene out there for you, if you're wanting to play.
Now that I don't know as much about, but...
Probably not. Yeah, Curly, what were your takeaways from Punk's run all the way to EVO?
I think it was... That man has to have some like real strong mental, because right when he gets swept in the first part of Grand Finals, gets the reset, he's like laughing off at those little moments where he's like losing. He's like, damn, like there was a moment where they were both chips away and he just missed out. And so like he wasn't letting it get to him. And then when it came to those final moments, he knew how to lock in. Like that, I think his mental fortitude is insane. And then the other thing is like what the casters were saying is like when he really gets like one moment, he gets that moment. Like he was kind of shaky at the start, but when he got in the swing of things, the casters were really saying this looks like Punk. Like he had a couple like perfects, and then even in the not perfect ones, like he got some really long chains off on his opponent. Like he can dominate. He just needs to find that window, you know. So it's just very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's the fact that it's his second title within a month. Not even
because he won EVO Japan, I think, is what it was.
We'll need to check on what the second tournament is, but
I may be thinking of Nitro. I'm sorry, I might be thinking of Nitro.
No. Yeah, Punk got apparently Punk got second in EVO 2017, and that's about as far as he's gotten.
Even so,
yeah, I'm definitely thinking of Nitro. My bad.
Yeah, no, all good.
My bad.
So yeah, I mean, just huge.
Huge.
Just absolutely dominant win, and then Nitro,
man.
He had the grand finals reset, and first of all, that reset, he just absolutely curb stomped in the matchup.
Ridiculous.
In the first grand finals match, and then into the reset, he also did really well. And I feel like, so like his opponent, I think it's Tatuma, his opponent gets the first round, but then Nitro gets the second one, and then Nitro gets the third one, and you can just like see it on Tatuma's face. He's just like, yeah, I can't. Like the frustration was hitting him. Like he was just really struggling to lock in, and crowd behind him, everything. Nitro just like absolutely, beautiful play from him in this matchup. Curly, I know you really enjoyed this matchup. I mean, talk to me about what your thoughts were on this one.
Well, because it was just really hype, because this one, even though the sweep definitely dominating, but it was a lot more back and forth in the seconds, in the reset, which added a lot more entertainment. And then especially because the crazy thing for both Punk and Nitro is they both came down to match 5 final situation.
Right.
And it's just, that's it. Like that was
all
like,
or nothing,
it was,
leave it all there.
It's pretty much like, this is really the only one that matters. The rest of them didn't happen. And it was just absolutely insane. Then and again with Nitro, you could really tell he had the crowd behind him. Like he was getting boosted by everyone behind him, because whenever he got on a roll, it was always like roars. It was like, yeah. And then when Tatuma was on a roll, it was just kind of like nothing. Yeah. And so this man was being propped up by everyone behind him, everyone in his corner that caught him when he won. It was just overall very exciting to watch. And again, I knew what was going to happen. I knew he was going to win it. And I still was like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some crazy good stuff. One other thing I will say, these EVO wins for the guys, they have me really excited for 2XKO. Now I have played, a fair amount of Smash in my time. Obviously Smash is its own different beast compared to some of these, side-scrolling fighters like Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, stuff like that. 2XKO, I'm eyeing it. I've got my eye out. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm hopeful that we either have some of the FlyQuest signees playing that game, or we pick up some people who are going to play it, because I think that game is going to go far.
Sandy's actually trying to join the ranks of FlyFighters.
I'm not. I do not have the grind or the skill set necessary to play fighting games at a highly competitive level, but I could see myself getting into it a little bit. Yeah.
I think I saw, I don't know which Fly staff member it was, but I think I saw someone saying that there's a couple of the guys on the FGC team right now that are heavily eyeballing 2XKO.
Yeah.
So, I would not be surprised they just see a transition over.
It does seem like there's, there's obviously a lot of cross-applicable skills, But from what I understand, it's like a team fighter. Yeah, it's like I'm watching Nitro's pop off right now. That's pretty great. Everyone's freaking out for him.
Oh yeah, man.
It definitely does seem like it's the kind of team fighter that a lot of people could really get into pretty easily. So I'm certainly intrigued. Obviously, huge congratulations to the FlyQuest folks who did win at EVO. I think there was a third one, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember. I gotta look.
A third one of what?
A third, three trophies across 2 events. Who was the third one? I'm trying to look.
I think that was the Nitro that we were talking about.
No, Tempest.
Where I mixed it up for
got,
Tempest.
Yeah, no. Tempest won for. Tempest won for EVO Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it was.
That's where it comes.
We're terrible.
We need to
pay
pay better attention to FGC, guys.
That's what I was confused about. Now I am no longer confused. That makes a lot more sense. So, I was like, I didn't think we had a third win, this weekend. But then I see this tweet that's like 3 trophies across 2 events, and I'm like, which was the third one? So, awesome. Well, really great stuff. Final topic of the night, really, really quick because it's more of just like an update. FlyQuest Red, they should be starting Game
Valorant, by the way.
Series 3. Yes, in Valorant, thank you. They should be starting Series 3 tomorrow.
Yes.
In Open Qualifier number 1. There's no bracket out, so I couldn't tell you anything about any of it.
So there's someone in the FlyQuest Discord, and I'm just going. I can give a quick synopsis of the giant post they made. But
yeah, please do.
They are in Group B with Catnappers and Ebony X Game Changers. They have a first round bye, so they'll play the winner of those 2 during the second round. And then the big synopsis of this whole tournament is basically, if FlyQuest can make it into the main bracket, because this is the open qualifiers right now, if they make it into the main tournament for this series, they will have enough points across the entire year that no matter what happens, unless a third team comes in and wins the whole thing outside of Shopify or FlyQuest, they're automatically qualified for champs. So
okay, that makes sense.
As long as Fly's in the main tournament and some third team doesn't win the whole thing, Fly's going to I think it's Sao Paulo. I forget where champs is at. Berlin. They're going to Berlin.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, it's so interesting. This first qualifier, it's literally this week. It's the 23rd through 27th. And then the next one, it's like the first week of September. And then the third one is the first week of October, with the main event being in the middle of October. So this qualifier,
they're doing that LCS strat.
Yeah, this whole series is over a 3-month period. It's crazy. Longer, almost 4 months, really. That's just so long. So that'll be tomorrow, starting tomorrow. So be sure to tune into that. On a complete side note, Valorant Champions, the draw is out. So if you are interested in Valorant, obviously there's no FlyQuest team, but America's teams to root for: Leviathan, G2, Crew, and Sentinels. They're all going to be there. So be sure to root for those teams. Valorant Champions starts on August 1st. It's right around the corner. Of course, it's over in South Korea, so terrible timing for any NA viewers to watch. But you can certainly tune in to watch that. All right, I believe that's basically everything tonight. And we actually made pretty good time on all of that. So unless you guys have anything else, we're going to close out the show.
No, I've literally exhausted every bit of knowledge that I've had.
Excellent.
I have nothing else.
Yeah. No, perfect.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you everyone for tuning into our reunion episode of Flight Check. LCS continues this weekend. 100 Thieves for FlyQuest. I believe that matchup is on Sunday? Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern. Sunday. The 28th after TL and Immortals concludes. You can go from watching one 2-0 to another 2-0 just like that. Real easy. No big deal. You can catch the show on Twitter for all of your instant reactions and thoughts to the games. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion and otherwise taking place there. And if you missed any part of this episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning, and you can watch it right there. That'll be it. Any final notes from either of you, Nox or Curly, before we wrap up? Shoutouts, plugs, etc.
My shout out is Massu will actually be on Hotline League tonight. If you want to go check into Travis Gabbard's show here in about an hour, I think, if I remember correctly. So go check him out. See if he can get on. Even maybe you can get to ask him a question or give a take, and he can talk to you a little bit. So yeah, go check out Travis Gafford and the Hotline League.
Sweet. Curly, how about you?
I'm gonna say shout out to that new collection that FlyQuest has out, trying to steal my wallet with the perfect shade of pink on a nice hoodie. They will, in fact, get it once I get paid next week. So yeah.
I also eyed the hoodies, and my birthday is coming up, so I just dropped the link to my wife, and we'll see how that turns
just a
out.
Big eyes emoji to Miss Sandy Toes.
Exactly.
Mrs. Sandy Toes. My bad.
Mrs. Toes.
Mrs. Toes. Oh God.
All right. Unironically, all right, this will be my shout out. I have been considering just rebranding to just simply Sandy.
Ooh.
So I am considering the rebrand. So
no more toes.
No more toes. Just Sandy.
It'll be real hard to stand, bro.
Oh yikes, man.
Oh man.
Oh man.
That was terrible. Was terrible.
Perfect. On that note, we're gonna have to leave. We're gonna have to shut the show down because that's just too much. So for all of us here at Flight Check Crew, we'll be back next week talking about LCS, probably
some
game changers.
Hopefully,
we'll be able to talk about that, see how that goes. So for now, I'll just say, stay safe out there. Don't forget to hit the head on the nail, bite your teeth, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.
I just can't let this go. Every last chance I had is gone, but I just can't let you know. I just can't let you know. But I just can't.